stop making excuses. I made way too many excuses. I don't want to be on the show right now telling y'all as a grown-ass man, I made excuses that basically led me into jail, face things head on, instead of trying to come up with some type of excuse of why you're not going to just take care of what's supposed to be taken care of. I'm so grateful right now. And then you got people saying, like, they want to talk to you. They were like, yo, bro, I used to watch you every day.
Money and fame can be loud. You had to take some time and sit down.
I learned my lesson soon. The judge said 6 months. I ain't need to be in here talking to Diddy or nobody else.
But that wasn't the first time you'd been in trouble. Why do you think it took you until the judge said 6 months to finally learn the lesson?
When would that shit hit you like, man, I am locked up?
When you put them greens on and they bring you to that bump, I don't wish that on nobody. I don't wish that on my enemies.
Hold up, limitless, take a stomach guy pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling got me up. On the mission got me up. Knowing me, I got the key. On this vision I can trust. Limitless, take a stomach guy pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant.
Yes, sir.
Here we go.
Fellas.
What's happening? Clean. Yes, sir.
What up, Telfair? What's up, dog?
Man, my man.
Appreciate y'all having me.
Legend.
What's good?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, what's good, fellas?
Chilling, man. Sebastian Telfair, welcome to The Pivot. Absolute legend. This is Fred Taylor, Channing Crowder, Ryan Clark, Pivot fam. Thank you for pivoting with us. I'm one of those football players that wish he could have been a hooper.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So seeing you on the cover of Slam and following your career, especially here at Lincoln, man, that was something I was tapped into. Stephon Marbury was my favorite point guard of all time.
Wow.
So I became like a New York guy, man. So I'm extremely excited to have you here. Football's so different. What was it like, man, to have superstars coming to watch you play in high school, to be on the cover of magazines, to have documentaries made about you at such a young age?
Man, super dope experience for me. Basically being a child prodigy. Looking back at it now, I think I'm at an age now where I'm like, man, that shit is cool. I didn't understand it at first, you know. I understood it where it got me hyped. It actually made me feel like I could make it. But to see it now, like, I couldn't imagine, like, my son or my nephew, like, it's like seeing, like, see little Bronny and them go. It's like, it's crazy. It was a crazy experience, to tell you the truth.
We just had Method Man on, and he was kind of talking about, like, the rock star, like being a rock star, especially in New York.
Yeah.
I'm a Atlanta dude. Atlanta's big, but New York is wild. Being that rock star, man, did it change at that age? You just said it looking back, but at that age, how did it change you that you could walk around a city like New York and everybody knew your face?
Actually changed me in a good way, being a young kid, because going to school, I was a little shy. I got a little behind, you know what I'm saying? So when I actually became the top 5th grader in the country, 6th, 7th, 8th grader and all that, I was able to apply myself in school a little more. I wasn't like shy, like I wasn't the kid like trying to like not get called on, you know what I'm saying? So everyone was giving me so much love through basketball, so it kind of opened me up, you know what I'm saying? My personality and, kind of allowed me to get through school a lot easier, to tell you the truth. Because, you know, a lot of kids, you starting out doing good in school, you like, man, between not doing good and not being fresh to death in school, where I come from, you'll be dropped out in 7th grade. So basketball definitely helped me in that way, being a child prodigy. Everyone know who I am. Going to school, people showing me the magazine and shit. I was like, man, shit was definitely dope.
You were Sebastian Telfair before you actually knew how to drive.
Yeah.
And the popularity was insane. I even heard about you down south. But basketball is actually what made you that way. When did basketball start to not feel like a game and feel more like a responsibility?
Good question. Sometime in the NBA, I think not understanding the business going into the NBA, the moving around part, that traveling part getting traded in the NBA and professional sports, period, it takes a token on you for sure. In between my career, I would say maybe right before I signed with the Phoenix Suns, I was kind of like, losing my drive as far as I ain't really need to be motivated. I ain't really need a life coach or a personal trainer. I would get up and do it myself. Mm-hmm. At that point, I was like, I need some type of motivation. I was kind of falling off my drive.
You say you're losing your motivation. With all of the hype from, being a child prodigy, are you saying you experienced some sort of burnout?
Yeah, I was kind of burnt out a little bit. And also being a child prodigy is like, so you getting all the sneakers, they give you all the gear, your team is traveling around, you kind of in on things, you know what I'm saying? Being in the NBA and then not getting a real contract. So I'm playing for league minimum, you know what I'm saying? Basically the first 5-6 years, I'm saying they're like, oh my Lord. It was hard, it was tough dealing with that, not getting paid, especially getting in trouble early in the NBA and not understanding exactly what that meant. I thought I was gonna be out the NBA, but what it really meant was you're gonna play for cheap. You know what I'm saying? So that's exactly what I did to myself. That was the biggest like burden I had to, you know, and then you watching your peers, like people not say you better than them, et cetera, but you know without your troubles, you could be making at least half the money they making. You watching your peers make, 25 million, 30 million a year on the court. You over there sitting there making $2 million. I definitely would never hate on nobody, but it didn't motivate me, to tell you the truth.
It's crazy for you to say the best fifth grader in the nation. Like, that's nuts to think about. But it's true nowadays. It's getting even worse now with how sports is.
Oh, yeah.
Where they rating kids in middle school and elementary school on basketball. When did you know you were the meal ticket? Because we didn't, football-wise, you don't really know you can make bread, well, in our age, until you got to college, and then, oh, damn, I'm All-American. Okay, now, I can see that. When did you know, like, oh, because you were talking about getting shoes and all that stuff, but where you're a kid, but you could set your uncles and aunts and mom and dad, you could set people up. When did you know you was a meal ticket?
A meal ticket or the meal ticket?
The
meal ticket? I was already a millionaire when I had that mind frame. I already got the money. But a meal ticket, I would say sometime in junior high school. We was dealing with Nike. I was traveling around all the AAU teams. We had Rockaway sending us clothes, academics, and Nietzsche. It was just so much stuff coming at one time. I began to drive. I learned how to drive at 12 years old. A lot of shit like that, where I was getting, I got my older brother, Dan, let him rest in peace. I got on one of his first cars.
Dang.
When I'm in like 6th, 7th grade. Shout out to Nike. So it was at that point where I was like, all right. And then I'm handing my mother money every month, myself, like money's being handed to me that I'm handing to my mother. And our upbringing was kind of rough. So just seeing the transition from shit being rough to we got cable and a bunch of other shit, you know what I'm saying? We always had a bunch of love and a bunch of, my mother kept it good for us. But, you know what I'm saying? Where I come from is like, shit could get tough at times.
How hard is it to go from having nothing, becoming someone that could provide, and now being back in those same sort of living conditions and projects?
Just thinking about it is hard, but I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I was able to go back to Brooklyn, go back to Coney Island where I put a lot of love, you know what I'm saying, back into my community. I was received with a lot of love, so that, shows how I dealt with people. I don't know, I feel up and down about it at times, but if I had to be somewhere in New York, I would definitely prefer to be in Coney Island.
How much is too much for a young person? They were both drafted. He was a top 10 pick. He was picked in the 3rd round. I was an undrafted guy. So there wasn't a ton of pressure on me to make it, to take care of everybody. Really, people in my family and people in my circle, once, I got to the league, were saying, save your money. Don't worry about us. You're undrafted, those things. You don't get that when you're on the cover of magazines. They expect, they're gonna look at you and say, at some point, he's gonna have a $100 million contract. At some point, he's gonna be this, he's gonna be that. How much pressure is too much pressure, even on somebody as talented as you were?
I don't know what too much pressure look like for a kid, because I feel like if the kid is talented and he's bringing in people that's willing to pay, take care of the family, et cetera, I don't think that affects him as much as it will affect the people around him.
Explain that.
Because you 12 years old, like, you don't have the same mind frame as someone 21, definitely not 30 or 40 or 50, because, at a certain age, the most important thing is what's going on is them bills. You know what I'm saying? At a certain age, what we all got in common is bills. So at a 12-year-old, you just having fun. You just, want a nice leather jacket and some sneakers. You're not really thinking about like security, financial security. So you get people around you, they're like, okay, this is my financial security, which is you. So it will affect them more than it's gonna affect the kid. I think that a kid, young prodigy, superstar, you could give him $1 million in the 8th grade. I don't think it will affect him the way it will affect people around him.
Yeah, because you don't know any better. And adults are there because most times the odds would say they would take advantage of that child, most times. But looking back though, I want to ask you, the adults that were in your life or the people that were in your life, what did they get right versus, what did they get wrong?
It was new to all of us.
Right.
A lot of people was sensitive. There was a couple of people hating. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't understand as a kid, like people envy you no matter who they are. You know what I'm saying? Especially that type of success. It's like the real success. It ain't like the half of success. It's like, you want a Benz? Swipe type of success. You know what I'm saying? Let me hold $100,000 type of success. You know what I'm saying? So, people get to hating on you also. But my family got it right by protecting me in a way where they was like, man, we just want to make sure you okay at the end of the day. And right now, I'm okay. I'm alive and well. I'm healthy. You know what I'm saying? I still got a lot more life to do. So they was more worried about the world swallowing me up and really swallowing me up, and I'm not having me. But as far as the business part of it, we struggled a little bit as a unit. We didn't give ourselves time to grow. We was like, I got drafted, we got the Adidas contract, like, especially me, because my ego, I wanted it to be like overnight, where it's like, all right, what do it look like when you got some money and, you know what I'm saying, you successful? What do it look like? So your mother got a house, everybody got cars, you look a certain way, et cetera, et cetera. I wanted that overnight, and my family did also, and you got to understand that that's a process. No matter if you have $1 billion, it's still a process to find a house, furnish a house, find a car you like, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Get a wardrobe, just kind of find out what business you want to invest in, et cetera, et cetera. It takes time, and we was in a rush just being unexperienced.
Everybody always says, people ran through it. They called me the pocket watcher on the show. I know you've seen at least 20. I don't know the big picture, really what you've seen, but you've seen 20 grown men. Like, don't just say bad investments. Like, how did you run through 20? I never saw 20. And just thinking about it, like, my thing when I see dudes and I'm talking to them, I'm like, bro, if you got 10, then you got 8, then you got 6, then you got 4, then you got 800,000. Like, you can see that money leaving. Like, at one point, then you try to adjust. Like, something is going wrong with this financial plan.
That's a good question. And no excuse. No excuse. So I played 10 years. You said I made 20. We all know about Uncle Sam, right? So what's that, 10? Right? So that's about $1 million a year.
Yeah.
That ain't no money. That's the real truth. The real truth is I ain't really make no money. I really ain't make no money. So people are like, oh, I don't understand how you gonna go crazy from, I'm like, I ain't make Floyd Mayweather enough money. I didn't make the type of money where it's like, I'm gonna go crazy because I don't have it today. That's the real truth. If you do the math, that's $1 million a year. It's even hard. You gotta be a real strategic dude making $1 million a year and thinking you're gonna end up, with everything on earth.
And you taking care of the family.
I got 14 brothers and sisters that I love with all my heart. I got a mother and a father. You know what I'm saying? So it was a lot on us. But the real truth with the money part of it is we ain't make enough money for it to be sitting the way it's supposed to be sitting. Right? That's the real answer to that. But I invested in Philippe Childs. You know what I'm saying? So I was doing, when I first got to the league, I was on the path to do, the right things. You know what I'm saying? So I was on the right path. I just got knocked off the path of, sitting here with, $275 million cash right now.
The way that you don't sit here with $275 million in cash is when the 13th draft pick of the Portland Trail Blazers in the first round doesn't become a superstar. But you had always been a superstar. Like you said, from the 5th grade, you were the #1 player in the country. What was the realization for you when you were like, wait, I'm not the best. I'm not playing the most. I'm coming off the end of the bench as a rookie. How difficult was that to deal with for someone who always had it?
I don't really think that played a part. Maybe small. I was very confused when I got to Portland and I wasn't starting. Like, that shit confused me. I was just like, why am I not starting? You know what I'm saying? And then it took them halfway through the year and they let me start. And I remember my numbers from that point through my second year is perfect online to do what I need to do. So the basketball part of it wasn't it. Though I was not working half as hard as I supposed to have been working, especially early on. You know, I would say my first 3-4 years dealing with everything off the court and not focus on the court. So the lack of focusness along with being a little confused of not starting and being on the team that's we losing, and I'm not really feeling it. And I was confused as shit. Like, I'm used to, like I said, like, I'm used to crying when I lose. And when we win, I'm feeling good and everybody holding me up. So when I got to Portland and we just losing. I'm just saying there like, what the, like, I was confused. That's the truth. The first time I second guessed myself, you know what I'm saying? But that's when you're supposed to have the right people around you, kind of mentoring you, so you understand that this is a marathon, this is not a sprint. Stay focused. When your time comes, you're going to be extra ready, and you take it from there.
You talked about having people be able to talk to you, guide you, sometimes having conversations with people who have hit rock bottom are conversations that help you going forward as well. Recently, when you were in jail, for lack of a better way to say it, you had a conversation with Diddy. What did you take away from that conversation to help you now moving forward to not end up in a bad place like that again?
Shout out to Diddy. I hope he get through, you know, everything he's going through. But I learned my lesson soon. The judge said 6 months. I ain't need to be in here talking to Diddy or nobody else. You know what I'm saying? Nah, I don't really want to give Diddy my lesson and learn from that. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, shout out to him. I hope he get through the situation. I hope he a better person when he get out.
For you to be in a place where you go from all of these dreams and goals of things that you can be, and you know, you even say I didn't work the way I was supposed to in the beginning. There was the gun charge as well, which I think it was more the off the court stuff where people were like, wait, he got this charge or he's going through this thing. We can get him for cheap. When you get to Phoenix and you're playing with Steve Nash and you're watching a professional, was there any point where you thought you could get your career back to the place where you could be the star people perceived you to be when you were young?
That's fun that you say it like that. I believe in Phoenix was the first time where I felt like there's some growth for me. And I think Phoenix was the kind of point where like I knew my career was kind of over, to tell you the truth. I had a whole problem with my agent when I went to Phoenix. I was super excited when I went to Phoenix. I wasn't in shape when I got to Phoenix, so they had Ronnie Price playing over me, and I worked my ass off. I got in tip-top shape. Last 40 games of the season, I'm averaging 15-8. We won game off the playoffs and shit. I just did a great job. The week before the season ended, I met with my agent. We down in Houston. I met with my agent. I'm like, yo, what type of deal can I get? Because at this point, I'm trying to get a team to invest in me for 3 years so I could woosah and, you know, just work and shit. So he was like, man, you could get a 3-year deal, 4-year deal, something like this that night, saying the numbers. I'm like, ugh, I'm feeling so good that night. I go out there. I was playing against Kyle Lowry and Aaron Brooks. I'm kicking their ass. And they looking at me like, what the hell? I'm about to get some of that money y'all been getting. That's what I'm thinking in my head, but I'm just like moving, feeling different. Because when you playing professional sports, you gotta be making money. You can't be out there, especially for too many years, not making no real money. It's like a conversation that nobody's having, but you know the respect level and everything, you know, kind of that money part that you're making is a box that they're gonna check. You know what I'm saying? If they checking off how they're gonna deal with you. You know what I'm saying? And that goes with the referees, et cetera, et cetera. The season ended. I knew how my contract was. When they called to sign me, they was like, we want to give you $1.5 million. I was like, nah. So my agent was like, nah, you got to take that. That's what TJ Ford just signed for and for the Spurs. I was like, nah, ain't TJ Ford older than me? Like, nah, I ain't doing that. So he was like, whatever. So 2 hours later, he called back. I was like, tell him give me $2 million and I'll come play for the year for them. So he called me back. He's like, all right, we got the deal for you, $2 million. Cool. He was like, this is how it is. They're going to pay you $1.5 million, and then at the end of the year, they're going to give you $500,000. It's the second year on the contract, but they're going to cut you right at the end just to give you the $500,000. Got your $2 million. Boom. I'm like, all right, cool, let's do that. I go through the season, it started rocky, it ends great. They like, we love you, we don't want you to go nowhere, you our guy. I'm talking to my agent, he's talking about the contract. I'm like, finally, like I'm just getting to the point where I got a decent team, my mother out the projects, I got my house, I got the car I want. I'm just getting to the point where it's like, all right, this is what it felt like to be in the NBA and shit. The season ended, I waited till that 10 days. I'm calling Phoenix like, where is my $500,000? They like, man, we love you so much, we're gonna keep you for the next year. I said, nah. The deal was that y'all give me the $500,000. And he was like, nah, you gotta talk to your agent. My agent lied to me.
He lied to you about the 500,000?
Yeah, that they agreed to release me for me to get the 500,000.
And that wasn't in the actual
lie.
contract.
No, it wasn't in the contract.
But you had to sign it though.
Yeah, but that probably was a verbal agreement.
Yeah, because to send it to the NBA PA, you couldn't send it there saying he's going to get cut at the end of the year to get
Facts.
$500,000.
All right, got
That was one of those handshake deals.
Facts.
Yeah.
So what was the next step after that then?
Man, I was mad as hell. So I met with the owner, Robert Sarver, Rob Babby, and the president and all them. And I'm like, what are y'all talking about? They was like, nah, we don't. And I went to Rob Babby, who's the president of the team. I was like, listen, this is the start of the season. So y'all got me in here with fucking Hakeem Warwick making $8 million a year, Josh Children making $10 million, Jared Dudley making $10 million, Steve Nash, Grant Hill, and all that. I said, y'all gotta pay me my salary in 6 months. And I never did that before. So I could have bigger checks to get through the year and shit. And I'm thinking I got the $500,000 at the end of the year, no matter what. So they did that for me. So now when they give me that news, I'm not getting the $500,000. I'm just getting my last NBA check from them, and they not gonna give me the $500,000. Boy, I was boo-hooing, arguing with them, went into arbitration with the agent and all that. That's how I got out the NBA. I ain't even have an agent going into that following season. But I'm on contract with Phoenix. They draft Kendall Marshall. Shout out to Kendall Marshall, but we get into the season, I'm looking around the locker room as a veteran now. I'm like, we draft Kendall Marshall. I'm looking at the rest of the team. Our superstar is Dragic. I'm like, what's gonna happen is we gonna fall behind, we're not gonna have a good record, and all they gonna say is, it's time to play our rookie. So I'm looking at that at the beginning of the season. I'm like, this is some bullshit. So that's kind of how my career kind of went. And next year I was in China after that. And that's how you go to China.
That's the path to China?
Yeah, and I was in arbitration for 2 years with my agent. And I was like, yo, bro, why you ain't let me fire you? And he was like, I ain't want to let you go. I said, damn, that's the only true thing you said.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I'm gonna say I had off the field, you had off the court issues, I had off the field issues.
Yeah.
So I was an All-American in college, but I got locked up 3 times in 2 years at University of Florida.
Jeez.
So they, damn.
Jeez, how you still? Yeah, man, that's worse than my shit.
I'm saying, like, did you ever correlate it to why you, like you're saying, they ain't giving you that big contract, they ain't giving you that long-term 5-6 year deal, where I saw that I should have been a first rounder. I ain't go to the third round, and it was dudes that I outplayed in college, but they didn't trust me to give me no $8, $10, $12 million.
Yeah.
As soon as when I was 20 years old, they was like, I can't get this man $20 million.
Yeah.
He's gonna go crazy. He was getting locked up when he was broke. Now I'm gonna give him 20. Did you ever correlate that the off the court and the on the court is all connected?
For sure. In Phoenix, it was different. I had that clear path where they was around me. They was around my kids and my ex-wife. Like, they knew, like, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? And then Phoenix, one of them teams where you're going to practice, so they're going to know your real skill level. That's why we knew Kendall Marshall, like, after the first 2 months. We was like, oh, shit, he not a real pro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no matter how good or bad my career went, I'm a real pro. Like,
10 years.
I could forget how many years I played. I could have played 2 years. I'm a real professional. Like, I haven't really been playing basketball. You take me into the gym, I'm still gonna make 8 out of 10. I could dribble left hand, right hand, you know what I'm saying? I'm like a real professional. And some guys gonna be, like, they play in the league, but they not like a real professional. Even like with a plumber, like, you know what I'm saying? It's some dudes that can run into problems where like, they can't fix your toilet. So you got professional plumbers, no matter what your situation, when he leave, he like, man, here's your invoice, my guy.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's funny.
Kobe, like T-Mac, LeBron, you know, KG, all these players skip college to go pro. Yourself.
Yeah.
Do you feel like if you can turn things back around, do you feel like college would have prepared you more or better for the NBA? Because it seems like you were a young player trying to learn life and also trying to, I guess, manage those expectations.
I think like the older you get, like your answer change a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because I'll be looking at it now like I could be looking at my son in that same situation and what would I want him to do if I wanted to guarantee his success. Me personally, they wasn't letting me in the NBA if I'd have got locked up 3 times in Louisville. Let me tell you that right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, they was not letting me in the NBA if I would have went to Louisville and got locked up for no matter what it was.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, it could have been the most minor thing. I would have had problems.
They called it character issues.
I guess, but nah, college definitely wasn't for me. I'm so happy that I made the decision not to go to college, but I think it could have helped me become a better professional because I think what college does, if you go there, you're coached. You know what I'm saying? So when you're a coach and you allow yourself to be coached, it helps build your character for the next level. It helps give you some time. The college helps give you some time for your mind to mature a little bit. So you can kind of get, like, all right, to learn what security is. I'm in the house with my mother and my father, and I'm a child prodigy. I ain't think about exactly what security is. When we get to college, you kind of on your own, like, you kind of start figuring it out, like, all right, this is what the world is about, this is what's going on, and then you can figure it out from there. But as far as just trying to be an NBA player and be a good NBA player, nah, I don't think college, I would make the same decision every time.
Rick Pitino said when he was watching you play, he kept thinking if he actually comes to campus, he's going to be the greatest point guard I've ever coached. In watching you do your job, which it became, but watching you play in high school, the skill level, the athleticism, the understanding, you know, that was what he said. Something struck me that you said earlier. You said when the judge said 6 months, you learned your lesson. But that wasn't the first time you'd been in trouble. We were just having a conversation. I was talking to Method Man about like doing things, but not changing some of the negative things in our lives because we still winning. Because we're still finding ways to not face the repercussions and consequences of it. Why do you think it took you until the judge said 6 months to finally learn the lesson?
Man, I say that where I was playing around with my probation, where if you're on probation you're basically jailing on the streets, right? That's the basic terminology for it, right? So if you're playing around with that, they're gonna make you jail in jail, right? That's the simple saying. That's what I'm telling myself right now. And before I was playing around, like, it's like both options is street to street. You know, I'm like, no. So I was playing around with my priorities and I wasn't putting my probation as my priority. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I said, like, I was playing around. That's not nobody in their right mind. I don't think at the time of like last year, I was in my right mind going through so much shit, so many moving pieces, and kind of still looking up and kind of being stuck in New York. Because I got stuck in New York Even though I chose to go back to Brooklyn, I got stuck in New York being on probation and still technically cannot leave.
Well, you talk about your kids a lot, and your kids aren't going to have your same story. You know, I've heard you say child prodigy 10 times. None of us knows what it's like to be Doogie Howser, right? Like none of us knows what it's
Fifth grade.
Yeah, none of us knows what that's like. You know, in the 5th grade, bro, like I was just trying to get my mama to buy me some British Knights. You know what I'm saying? Like that was like the highlight of my year, if I could get some like name brand tennis shoes, you know. And for you now, when you look at your kids and you're trying to parent them or guide them or advise them based off of your life, what priorities are you trying to instill in them for them to be successful?
Kind of the same basic things that was installed in me. It starts with love, especially with your kids. It starts with love. And I'm going to kind of answer from my end and not like, you know what I'm saying, for what I'm doing for them. So my plan in life, most important thing is for me to live and for me to be healthy. And that's for them, you know what I'm saying? Because me living my life, I lost my dad at like 27. And then when I was 33, I was like, damn, I need my dad more right now than I needed my dad at 19. You know what I'm saying? So like I got a plan for them for me to be around and be in their life, and they 40 years old and they still able to call their dad, because that's like a super resource as an adult. You know what I'm saying? You 40, 50, 60 years old and you still have your parents in your life. Whether they have resources or not, it still, you know what I'm saying, becomes a huge part of your life. So that's my biggest plan I have for my kids, for me to be there, actually be there for them. But I'm installing in them just love each other, just like how me and my brothers and sisters, a lot of us. So my mother installed like, we had to share.
Yeah.
We had to share. You know, I shared with my brothers and sisters. So I want my kids to be together and I want them to share. And just like today, I lost my mom and my dad. You know, I lost my mom during COVID. Me and my brothers and sisters, like we stuck to the hip. You know what I'm saying? Some of them crazy, you know what I'm saying? But we stuck to the hip. So that's what I want to install in my kids.
I love it.
With your kids, like telling them the story of you, is it different than just talking about it, like with the kids? Because now my kid, I got a 14 and a 12-year-old, and now everybody go online.
Yeah.
So they Googling their daddy's name and they're hearing these stories. And then now they coming up to me, Daddy, you broke some guy's jaw?
Yeah.
I was like, no, well, it was a bar fight. And you know what I'm saying? Like, telling your story to your babies, is it different than just sitting around even explaining it to us?
Yes. That's what only time I feel like, depending on what you do, but most things like, I don't got that celebrity thing where I feel embarrassed towards the rest of the celebrities. But my kids, I got big kids. I got 2 kids that's in college, Samaya and Sebastian. So it's like, oh man, I don't want that shit in the newspaper. Or I don't want this and that said. Worried about, you know what I'm saying, them more than, you know, what's actually going on with me.
Yeah. Even we relate because, you know, we've been locked up. But I was locked up for 2 days. It was my longest. And RC, like he said it like you said that when the judge said 6 months, boom. Like the realization to me, Brian, I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm sitting in that holding cell and the toilet's in the middle and there's no walls around it. And I had to go number 2. And I had to shit in front of 30 other grown men. And that's when I was like, man, I ain't coming back here no more, man. Like, this shit got me. When did it, like 6 months is a long time. When was that, because that was the first night to me. When was that shit hit you like, man, I am locked up?
When you put them greens on and they bring you to that bump, oh my Lord. You heard people say, like, I don't wish that on nobody. I don't wish that on my enemies. Like, being in jail is not for a human being, basically. Being in a cage like that is not for a human being. Though, let's make it clear, I was in Fort Dix at the camp. So I wasn't in a cell, et cetera, et cetera. I could be outside from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. They had a library, 2 rec rooms, basketball court, football, everything there. So that's more like a rehabilitation type of, but it's still prison. You still got the COs, you still got the council a day, you still gotta, you know what I'm saying, follow order. But I think my first week, I'm watching, so I'm eating and I'm watching them give my dude apple juice, a bunch of apples. But I'm just getting there, so I don't know exactly what's going on. So I'm at the New York table and shit, I'm eating. They give him about 40 apples. He walk off. So I'm like, all right, they be giving extra apples when everybody don't take an apple. So when I put my tray down and I'm walking out, I grab an apple. Why did I do that? Oh, my Lord. Yo, I told you could take the apple. I was like, who? Yo, I told you to put it back? I said, oh. I said, my fault, sir. And I turned around. He said, yo, I ain't dismiss you. He said, matter of fact, come on. Took me, searched all my shit, everybody around. And when that shit like that happened, everybody coming around like, bro, you making it hot and shit like that. So at that moment, I was like, damn, over an apple. Like an apple. So I was like, man, your ass really in jail. Like, this is really, like, you're really,
You're a prisoner.
You're an actual prisoner, and that shit is not cool.
When people are talking to you that way and you're having to now adjust to doing whatever somebody says, more importantly, you don't have freedom.
No.
There is zero freedom, whether you say it's a camp and it's true rehabilitation or if it's Alcatraz. There is no freedom. To go from a child prodigy who was supposed to have the most freedom
Facts.
that free men can have to having none, like that's a stark contrast. Was there ever any time while being there that it got extremely difficult for you emotionally and mentally to be good in that space?
I keep it real. Only time it was rough is when my kids first went to school. So this is their first year in school and all this shit. And right before going in, I'm fuming. I'm doing my little show. So I'm fuming, I'm doing this, I'm trying to get that together. I turn myself in. 2 weeks later, the kids go to school. And then, like, I just, I seen pictures of my kids' first day at school. And that shit, for the first time in there, like, I got warm in the inside. You can't be in there crying and shit. That ain't what it is. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? But that shit kind of bothered me a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I was like, damn. And I think the missing the milestone wasn't that big versus I'm over here doing a show and shit versus making sure my kids got everything they need for the start of school. You feel me? That shit made me warm on the inside a little bit.
What conversations did you have with your children before you went into Fort Dix?
Man, knowing that the big kids is reading it, I kind of didn't really have a direct conversation with them about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? And still, when I speak to them, I just speak, what's going on? What's good today? You know what I'm saying? Not like, Daddy feeling better, he's home. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not even bringing it up. But my twins, like, they so small, they not gonna really remember this. But having that conversation with them was tough. I was being a big baby because, like, my other kids, I was playing ball. So you have gone. You know what I'm saying? You got 42 at home, 42 on the road. These kids, like, I'm at home. You know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of like, they stuck to me and I'm stuck to them. So I was like, the thought of being away from them for that long was definitely bothering me. And there's no way for them really to understand. So I'm saying it to them, but they really don't understand. Yeah. But once they felt my absence, I was kept telling them, like, Daddy at work. And then by the time the 4th month hit, they was like, Daddy, like, you gotta come home, like, work. Like, what the hell you working on? You building a bridge? Right. Like, God damn.
You talk about warm inside and all that. Like, you're emotional. Can you be emotional now? Because as you talk, everything is rationalized. Like, you can be emotional. You don't gotta get warm inside. We ain't in prison no more, bro.
Nah,
you know
what it is? I'm watching, my show that we got on YouTube, Final Days of Freedom. Y'all go check it out. I'm watching, I'm like, damn, bro. I know it's a lot going on. I was crying way too much, bro. You can't be crying all goddamn day.
Why can't you?
Ain't that serious. You good.
But we can't be tough, bro. We too old to be tough, bro. If it's time to cry, it's time to cry.
It ain't that serious. It ain't that serious.
But
I was crying way too much.
It is that serious, bro. Like, it's it's jail.
Right.
It could be Tent City in Arizona. It could be a camp. Like your freedom is taken away.
Yeah,
And the other piece of it is context, right? Like we all know people from where we come from, and like they go to jail, and sometimes I'm like, that was gonna be the best place it ended. I knew what their life was. I knew what they had to do to eat. I actually rationalized it to myself that it made sense, and they got caught. That wasn't, at times in your life, a place you had to be. You didn't have to do those things. You had opportunities to be other things. You had opportunities to, whether $20 million is a lot or not, it's still $20 million. Right? And the truth, for you to end up there, like, it's a sad story. So to cry, man, like, that don't make you less of a man. To be truly warm, like you say.
Yeah, I just still feel like I was crying way too much.
I cry a lot on the show, bro. You know, they get on me about crying.
I just feel that, but I definitely understand. I definitely understand how serious the situation. But me crying, it's a lot of stuff built up.
Yeah.
It's not like, so if I start crying right now, I'm not crying because the coffee table. I don't like the coffee table. I'm crying about 8 other things. You know what I'm saying? And when I was watching the show, I realized that even like with losing my mom and my brother in 2020, like we haven't really, as a family, haven't really recovered. Like, you know what I'm saying? I haven't really grieved the right way. My freedom outside of being free has been taken. I've been stuck in New York. I've been traveling since I was 9 years old. I've been traveling, playing ball since I was 9 years old. I got in trouble in 2017 in New York. A blue trial in 2018. I've been stuck here. Like, they're like, we don't care who want to do an interview. You're not going to Los Angeles, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then I made it rough on myself, not taking care of my priorities, where now they not trying to, give me a little, help. Where it's like, all right, we'll let you do X, Y, and Z because you wasn't taking care of this. So this time around, I'm trying to, focus on that. But yeah, just too much shit going on. And being divorced as an athlete, you know what I'm saying? We see a lot of former athletes go through that, like a lot of shit. My big kids is across the country in LA. That shit bothers me a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that kept me in a relationship way longer than I supposed to have been in because of my love for them. You know what I'm saying? Then I'm like, damn, I still end up 3,000 miles away from them. And, that shit just, definitely had me in a funk for sure.
Yeah, money and fame can be loud, man. You say you was playing with your probation, and maybe it's because you were used to certain things, but you had that moment where you had to take some time and sit down. I'm sure prison got quiet at times, and it'll strip you down. What did that experience force you to kind of look at the most within yourself?
What excuses do I have? Like, what excuses you have? That's what I'm asking myself. Like, what excuses do you have? Those are not good enough excuses. That's what I learned. While I was sitting in jail, I'm sitting there like, yo, bro, whatever you was feeling wasn't good enough or make enough sense for you to be sitting in jail. You know what I'm saying? So stop making excuses. You know what I'm saying? Stop making excuses. I made way too many excuses, and then I let it drag on for so long where I have to say it. I don't want to be on the show right now telling y'all as a grown-ass man I made excuses that basically led me into jail. So that's one thing I said to myself sitting there like, bro, no more excuses. Face things head on instead of trying to come up with some type of narrative or whatever of excuse of why you're not going to just take care of what's supposed to be taken care of.
Moving forward look like you said, what does that look like? Because all you be, like you say, you bring up 5th grade, you bring up 10-year-old Telfair, and now to all you've been through, what does it look like going forward, man? What does it look like you said, the old kids, the young kids, the failed marriages, the whatever it is, what do we expect to see? What do we expect to see? What do me and your children expect to see on the internet moving forward out of you?
Well, definitely peaceful. I was arguing with my shorty the other day, like she like trying to argue, and she was like, what's up with this new monk thing you got going on, like this little Muslim shit? And I'm just saying that like, nothing bothers me. I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so grateful right now. And it took for me to be in there. You at your lowest when you were in jail. And then you got people saying like they want to talk to you. Like they want to like just hear a story about your life. They saying they will remind you. These ain't shy, dudes. They were like, yo, bro, I used to watch you every day. Like, bro, I love you, bro. You in jail, dude. Like, yo, bro, I used to watch you every day. They bringing the phones. We ain't supposed to have the phones. Everybody got the phones and shit. They bringing the phones like every day. Somebody like, yo, so like summing that up in there, I was sitting there like, bro, get your shit together. That's definitely not a place for me.
Are you embarrassed at all? Or ashamed at all about where you are today as to where you thought you might be?
Now I am. I wasn't ashamed my last couple of years, especially, when I'm filming before I went in and all that. I wasn't ashamed, and I feel like that was a problem, because you should be, because I could kind of like step out, like kind of have an out-of-body experience and just kind of judge myself at the same time. It's like looking in the mirror, like, come on, bro. Like, come on, bro. You came too far. You did too many good things for other people, you know what I'm saying, for you to not take care of yourself at a certain, level. Yeah, I'm embarrassed today. Not embarrassed in a way where I'm like, it is messing with my mental, but in a way where it's like, it's a sense of urgency for me to do certain things, you know what I'm saying, in this next step of my life.
I love that.
And I would say, bro, there's old saying, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. What is the plan for you? Like, what's the next money maker, the next venture, the next something?
It starts with being peaceful in your life. You know what I'm saying? If you don't get no peace, if you don't got no stability in your household and where you at, it's hard to continue to, be consistent, persistent on things like that. One of my main focuses, I wrote a picture memoir inside while I was down, and that's gonna be one of my main focuses. Because it's kind of a guide to people that, that's athletes and, people that just been around the field. So I'm gonna be excited to kind of present that to the world.
When I think of you, bro, the Slam magazine cover from high school it was my first introduction to who you were. And I think at that time, I knew more about LeBron, and that was when I learned about Sebastian Telfair. And Slam, actually, when they put the 30 most influential people in Slam history, you were one of them.
Bro, shout out to Slam.
Yeah, when you think back to that cover, and now you see what LeBron has accomplished, and is still accomplishing, how amazed are you at that? Or is that something you could even see then as a young person?
Super amazed. Super happy for LeBron. I definitely could see it at a young age, though. He just had this thing about him. I'm just talking about this certain shit he was doing, like them fadeaway threes, we teenagers and shit. Just how he moved, how he started training, how he started executing, how he was moving, taking vitamins at a young age, et cetera, just being professional as early as possible. That was Braun, so I don't think nobody could say that they see Braun being exactly where he at. So wherever your height was, he surpassed that. Yeah. So I'm just super happy for him representing our whole era of basketball, and it's becoming a legend that he is, to tell you the truth.
From protege to pro to, that stint with prison or whatever you call it? Camp. Right. I want to make sure
I was at work. I was at work. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Kids say you trying to build a bridge.
They say, God damn.
Yeah. From all of those, phases in life, throughout that, looking back, what would you consider your biggest pivot? Which is, and we ask all of our guests this, that one moment you can actually look back on and say, because of this, I am who I am today.
I would definitely say when I first get to high school and I get to Lincoln, I kind of take control over my situation. You know what I'm saying? I kind of seen where I wanted to go as a freshman in high school. So I become all city as a freshman. We went to play Julius Hodge. Julius Hodge is an All-American from St. Raymond's. This is in the Bronx. So I went to my local school, same school my cousin Stephon Marbury went to. It's the neighborhood favorite. So this is the start. This is before the season started my freshman year. And we go to play a game against St. Raymond's. This is like one of them little tournaments. So we get to St. Raymond's and I get in there, and this is like a Catholic school. So I get in there, look at their gym. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what decisions I make? Hold on. These niggas got glass fucking around the court and all this shit. I'm like, oh man, I should have went here. What the So 10 minutes later, they come running out. And they running out doing they clap, and they got fucking leather uniforms and shit. Like, the long sleeves, short sleeves, is everything with these A's on them. So we ended up getting blown out because I couldn't focus. Because I'm looking at my coach and my brother, and I was like, man, y'all bamboozled me, bro. Y'all got me in here with this bullshit on. Like, you feel me? They all had matching sneakers and shit. So I told my coach, I was like, bro, we better get them uniforms right there. So he ended up calling the company. They redid our uniforms and all that type of shit. So at that moment, I just started, doing my own thing. I started, getting the money myself, you know what I'm saying, handing it to my mother versus somebody else doing it. I just think at that moment, I kind of packaged myself to become who I was going to be. I'm doing Slam magazine, like it was a journey of the month. It was like I did a journey, the diary.
Yeah.
So it was like a lot was just happening in that moment where I kind of understood, like, all right, this is what's going on. Like, all right, cool. Let me take it from here. Adidas sending me gear. Let me put S31T on it, et cetera, et cetera. And then Adidas started doing it for me. So I just think in that my freshman year, like I was ready to take on what I was about to do.
I'm just grateful that you sat down with us, grateful that you agreed to it. I think there's so many times people run from what happens to them. People run from what their circumstances become. But you got a chance to tell a redemption story like no other. To child prodigy, to skip college, to become a pro, to be back home, and to be accepted back home, I think is one of the greatest things that your community can say about you, is that we still love you, we still accept you, we still want you to be a part of it. And I can't wait to see what story you tell going forward.
Appreciate that. And I feel like a young man. I feel like I got a lot more to do. My kids is spring chickens. It's like, I don't know, I feel like my whole life is right in front of me right now.
Yeah.
How my story was being told these last couple of months is not exactly what my situation is, but I'll kind of look at it and I'm like, you know what, nah, like, you gotta wear that because, a lot of people do go through times like that, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm okay with being a representation of that, not a representation of failure, a representation of, all right, this is where I'm at, I'm not embarrassed about it, watch me work myself out of there, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, for me not to have this mindset would be unfair to God, to me, right? Me already sitting in a situation and be unfair because I'm like, man, you've been so blessed, bro.
Yes.
So many people have not experienced the life former athletes have, or anyone, making any kind of real money. So I'm like, man, you've been so blessed, man. You've been on the side of the mountain with the Timberwolves. And I'm talking to Glenn Teller and the bill $105,000.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like,
Where you was at where a bill was $105,000?
wherever we was at, they was like, oh, you crossed that bridge and you're in Asia. We was in somewhere.
Damn.
I forgot half the memory once I seen the bill. I said, I'm looking at bill $105,000, you know what I'm saying? So I did good for myself. I made my mom and my dad smile, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Got my dad the Phantom truck before they had the Phantom truck, et cetera, et cetera. So for me to be in a situation and to be like, want to hang my head or not try or, not want to, speak out, that'd be like me completely not understanding how blessed I've been. I've been blessed. Yeah. And I want to show God, like, I'm so grateful. I'm talking today, like, I'm so grateful for everything you already done for me that I'm okay where I'm at today. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been if I had to do it over and know I would end up in the same situation, I still would do it. I think as human beings, especially coming from where we come from, being black in America, we all want to buy our mother a house.
Yep.
We all want to go buy a Bentley. We all want to buy travel good. We all want to take care of our kids. We all want to go, buy Louis Vuitton. We all want to go do that shit. And I'm like, man, I did it.
Yeah, you
Like,
did.
super did it. Like, to the lot. Like, when they got all the flavors, and I'm like, not that one. Give me that one. You know what I'm saying? Oh, and that one too. I got the big one. Give me the big one too. So I had that experience, and for a nice little stretch. So I'm like, I get back to that. Right now, let me take some time, rebuild my, my health, rebuild my mental stability, and I get there.
Well, biggest thing for me, man, we want you to be around for your kids, man.
Facts.
That being your priority and goal is something I respect so much.
That's my biggest plan right there.
Remember this, bruh. It's never too late to pivot.
Yeah.
Facts. It's never too late to pivot.
We here for you, man.
Appreciate y'all,
bro.
man.
Appreciate you. For
God.
sure.
105,000, man. I'm a run for this.
Sebastian, when will you be able to leave from here? From New York? How long?
Hold up, limitless. Take a stomach, got pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling got me up. On the mission got me up. Knowing me, I got the key. On the vision I can trust. Limitless. Take a stomach, got pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling got me up.